All right, good morning. We're going to get started with our drug court hearings. And first up is, let's see, Ian Jager. So Ian, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How are things going?
Things are going good. Just staying busy, working a lot, enjoying the summer. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain. Things are going really good.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate you on 2 years and 9 months sober. So good job there.
Thank you.
It's a big deal. What do you see as the key to your success here?
I mean, there's a lot of it, accountability is a big one. I need to keep in contact with certain people. That's a big thing. And just keep kind of plugging away. I have to constantly try to humble myself. I find, not getting stuck in my head is one thing. I do that squirrel in a cage thing, so I kind of have to take a step back and try to look at the bigger picture sometimes. I think it's a culmination of quite a few things at this point.
Okay.
It's definitely not just me. I credit a couple people with my success at this point. So drug court being a very large part of that.
All right. How are you coming on your application for graduation? Have you started that?
I haven't received it.
Okay. Well, go ahead and you can ask Beth to get you started on that.
Sweet.
I think we're looking at graduation date in, is it September, Ms. Lyko?
It looks like it's November, or I'm sorry, December.
Oh, well, I think we're gonna, I thought we talked about graduating Mr. Jager a little earlier than that anyhow.
Okay.
Let's see. So anyhow, I think it's time for you to at least start filling out the application. And I thought we discussed a September or maybe early October graduation date anyhow, but so let's see. Anything else you want to share with the group today?
Not particularly. Again, I'd like to offer my gratitude to drug court and the team. I mean, it's been a crazy couple years for me, and honestly, without this and Diana and, Lynn, Marianne, Beth, everybody, I don't know how I would have gotten through everything that's happened. So it's the whole thing's wild to me that I'm in the position that I am. So I can't thank everybody enough for that.
Okay, well, you also have to thank yourself because obviously it's your own willpower that has a lot to do with it, and your desire to make a difference anyway. So you're the most important person here, as are all of you. So good job, Ian. Congratulations again on 2 years, 9 months. And let's
Thank
go
you.
on now to Kelly Herringa. Ms. Herringa, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Let's see. I know you're looking at going to Tennessee again. in about 3 weeks, and the drug court team did discuss that, and you're approved for that. Just make sure you talk to Beth some more about testing requirements and that sort of thing, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, and the sort of things that when you're doing as well as you have done, those are the sort of privileges that we're glad to extend. Let's see, any problems right now?
No, just busy, it seems like. No problems other than I wish my body would behave. I keep getting like I hurt my back changing my clothes. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a daily thing for me.
Yeah. I don't like the reminder that I just get older every day.
Well, you're still a kid to me, so anyhow, well, other than that, are you having any, is work going okay?
Yeah, work is fine. We seem to be just as busy as ever, always full, a little stressful, but not too bad.
Okay. Any progress as far as the ability to prescribe at this point, or?
No, I mean, it's going to be at least a year still before I can get off of, or before some of the individual Medicaids will allow me to bill. Like I can bill straight Medicaid, but it's the Meridian, the Molinas, the Clarence, the individual policies that it's going to be still a little bit.
I see. Okay, so got a ways to go there.
Yeah, kind of just a holding pattern at this point.
Okay. So I know you had also asked about graduation, and let's see, you're about 2 years in at this point, so it's kind of premature at this point. We're really looking at least 2.5 years before we would consider going to a graduation plan. And,
Okay.
you know, there's a reason for that. And I've talked about it before, that's about the amount of time they say it takes to be reasonably certain that someone has been clean and is unlikely to go back to past behaviors after having an addiction issue. And so that there's a reason for that. And so 2.5 is usually the minimum. And a lot of folks, it's taken the full 3 years or something close to that anyway. But you're doing extremely well, and I would expect that if that continues, you'd be closer to the early graduation than the late one. So,
is there any exception to the rule when I'm still going to be in HPRP for another 1.5 years?
well, that's a good point, but I've tried to make sure that we're not doubling up on the requirements for both programs. I think we've tried to do that. And if there are instances where you feel that you're doing the same thing twice in both programs, then you know, let us know, and we'd be glad to take a look at it anyway.
Okay, so then I guess my next question would be is, given that that's going to be at least another 6 months likely, would it be possible to transfer to a drug court downstate so that I can get a job as an NPA working in a aesthetics place?
Well, let me run that by the drug court team next week, and
Okay.
we'll talk about it, okay?
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I hadn't known that that was a possibility, but it would make some sense for you, so.
Mhm.
um,
Hello?
Do you have a specific job in mind?
No, I haven't applied to anything because I'm not able to leave the area, but I would like to be able to work in my field. So if it's going to be that much longer, if I have the option to potentially transfer, then I would start applying for some of these other jobs.
Okay, and I assume that doesn't really matter as far as HPRP, it's the same program all over the state,
Correct.
okay? All right, well, you might want to provide Beth with a few more details about that.
Okay.
And anything that we might need to know in making a decision on that, okay?
Okay.
All right, I don't want to rule it out, but again, it's the first I've thought about that and heard about it, so, okay. Anything else you want to share with the group this morning?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay, well, keep up the good work anyway, and we will take a look at your request.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right, let's go to Jacob Redmond. And I guess first of all, I want to check, is Mr. Johnson here? Or MIDC counsel? Matthias Johnson?
I don't see him, Your Honor. I can try to contact him.
All right, I know Ms. Odom tried to let him know to be here early as possible.
I
Oh,
didn't
you
judge,
didn't?
no, because Ms. Lako sends him all the information with instruction, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, well, unfortunately, we've got quite a few hearings this morning where I need folks to talk to Mr. Johnson.
I'll try to get a hold of him, Your Honor.
I've been communicating
Okay,
with him this morning and sent him a message already, Charlie.
Okay, and he might be tied up in another court too, so. All right, let's go to Mr. Redmond. So, Mr. Redmond, I want to congratulate you, first of all, on the fact that this is the second hearing we've had where there haven't been any problem. So,
Thank you.
all right, kind of a rocky start there, but you seem to be falling into the program and the routine.
Yeah,
And,
I definitely.
But what do you think has been the difference for the last few weeks?
I mean, I don't know if this is like the right way to say it, but I think taking it seriously, not only, I mean, for myself, I think really taking it seriously for myself, I think has been the biggest difference. And also, you know, I just had to make a couple changes, really, is all it was. I had to change how I was scheduling myself, how I was planning ahead. Yeah, and honestly, going to meetings every day, like like I was, I go to mostly in-person meetings, and that's been a big help too. I mean, that's just another level of accountability, and yeah.
Okay. I know you're still looking for a sponsor, and how have you got any good prospects right now?
Actually, yes. So the guy that I've been planning on asking was actually in Mexico with his wife for a week and a half. He is now back, and I actually got his phone number last night at a meeting. And I was gonna ask him last night just to be my sponsor, but he was kind of in the middle of a conversation and whatnot. But I do have his phone number, and I do plan on contacting him yet today, actually. So, and I don't think I'm pretty sure he'll be able to sponsor me. So.
Okay, well, this is, what we want to do is, keep working on that, but what we want you to do is contact Nimri about getting a recovery coach in the meantime. I'm gonna put Mr. Johnson and Mr. Ryder in a breakout room here. Okay. Make sure you accept the invitation there, Mr. Ryder. There you go. Sorry to interrupt there.
All right.
But a recovery coach can be a good substitute for a sponsor for a short period of time anyway, while you're trying to find that. And usually they can set you up with a recovery coach fairly quickly.
Okay. I am.
If you could, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I am going to call him today. And if he is willing to sponsor me, do I just let Beth know?
Yeah, just let Beth know, and then you can forget about calling Nimri. But if he says he's too busy or whatever, then I want you to contact Nimri by the end of the week then to get that set up. All right.
So
any
sounds
issues
good.
you're having right now?
No, not currently. I do actually have one question though. So what, where exactly am I allowed to maneuver in town, as far as like, what are my limits, I guess? Like, would I be able to go out to Leelanau with my family to the beach out that way? Or I guess I just don't know what, I can't remember what it was.
All right, Ms. Lako, do you know what Mr. Redmond's restrictions are?
Mr. Redmond, you can travel within the district court parameters, which would be Leelanau County, Grand Traverse County, and Antrim County.
Okay. I was just trying to double check. Thank you.
So Sleeping Bear Dunes is just fine. Just don't go into Benzie County. All right?
Okay.
All right. Well, we're all set then for today. And again, congratulations. 2 weeks or two hearings in a row where there haven't been any issues. And keep up the good work. So, all right.
Well,
so
thank
let's
you.
go to Sarah Amroyan next. Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I see you got a dollar raise at work, so you must be well liked and doing a good job there.
They do. They like us very much.
Okay. And same with you. You had several hearings in a row here now where there haven't been any issues, and so I'm really glad to see that. I think you've adapted well to the program. Are you having any difficulties right now?
I'm not, actually. Things are going really good.
Okay. And you're working on your AA workbook with your sponsor, and how is that going? Where are you at?
I'm on step 2, and I'm hoping to meet my sponsor this week before work.
Okay, so you completed step 1 then?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if I asked you about that the last time or not, but what did you get out of step one?
I realized that I had no control over my drug habit, and I used my mom a lot, and writing it down made it more real. And I don't want to be that person.
Okay. Well, that's, I guess, good to hear that you, just by working the program, writing it down, like you say, it really brought it home for you. And I do want to say that compared to the first few hearings we have with you, you have made, I don't know, you just look happier, you look more relaxed, and I think you're just doing better overall. You know, there's only so much you could tell from appearance, but you just seem like you're in a much better place.
I am. Thank you.
All right. Well, good. All right. So anything else you want to share with us today?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Keep up the good work, and we'll go on to, let's see. Oh, we've got Mr. Ryder back here, so let's go to Mr. Ryder next. Mr. Johnson, have you discussed the alleged violations with Mr. Ryder, and what does he want to do today?
Your Honor, I've been able to review the newest violation. I'm not sure if there's any, there's a previous probation violation section and things like that. That still has not been updated from the 2019 document that I have, but I believe that the only violation is the missed UA on 7/20, and he would be admitting to that violation.
Okay, so Mr. Ryder, as always, I need to go over your rights. So you have a right to a hearing to contest the allegation, and you want to waive that right, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And of course, you understand any violation of your probation could result in termination from the program. Obviously, that's not what's being recommended, but let's see, you could be sentenced on up to just want to make sure I get this correct. 1 year in jail on the use of meth charge.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's forced, threatened, or coerced you in any way or promised you anything to get you to plead guilty to the violation, correct?
Correct.
All right. So you had a missed urine screen on July 20th, is that correct?
Correct.
And obviously that would be a violation of your probation terms.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to tell me what happened there?
Yeah, I did what I normally do is, I check to see if I have to drop in the morning, usually just before I go to work, which I did. And I don't know if either my phone didn't refresh or I just skimmed it too fast, but I looked and I didn't think I had to drop. I know that's not an excuse. I'm just telling you what happened. And so as always, I went in there the next morning and did my PBT and then came home and went to drug court. Totally, it was human error on my part. I honestly didn't know I had to drop. And I got a text message at about, I want to say 11-ish from someone saying that someone from New Direction was trying to get a hold of me to let me know that I missed my UA. So I went on the website and double checked, and sure enough, my code was there. So I freaked out for a little while. I emailed Beth, let her know, said if there's anything else you need me to do, I'll do it. And then I had Derek because we had our house meeting that day. I had Derek write, and I don't know if he wrote her an email or if he called her, but he sent her the results of the board member and House Unity drug test too. So yeah, I mean that's what happened.
So you'd taken a drug test at Unity as when?
That evening. Yeah, because that was the same day that we do our the big house meeting with all the houses in Jerry.
Okay. And Ms. Lako, did you get results from that test or?
No, Your Honor, I received an email from the gentleman he's speaking about saying that they did a drug test, but I never got any type of results.
Is the deal they would provide you with a result if there were a violation?
Yeah. It's when we pass and do our drug tests and our ETGs there's a sheet that they sign, and then Derek signs it, and then he writes negative, or positive. So I can if you didn't send a picture of that, it's on file downstairs. I can easily forward that to anybody. But yeah, so it would just say negative.
All right. And Mr. Johnson, is there anything you want to say on behalf of Mr. Ryder before I sentence?
No, Your Honor, I would just note that he indicates this is his first miss in, it looks like about 2 years. So quite frankly, probably something to be pretty proud of there. Not proud of missing one, but doing obviously a very good job in that regard. He does have an interview for a new job that he's very excited about coming up later this week. So he was very excited to talk about that, and he does continue to work full time. It may make sense to hold off on any sentencing until the court can see whether or not he passed that drug test later that day.
The biggest concern I had was that, well, there's a couple concerns. It's just hard to understand how you're looking at a board that shows your PBT test and right next to it, it says you're supposed to take a UA. So it was just difficult to understand that, how you miss it, but mistakes happen. And then, but my biggest concern was the fact that when you found out, you didn't contact Beth at all. And it seems like that would have been your first call. Say, hey, I screwed up.
I'm sorry. I did contact Beth right away. I wrote her an email, and I do daily PBT, so we don't check to see if we have PBT. I just go in there every morning anyways. And the website, you just go to see if you UA. So I just check that to see if I UA, but I daily PBT. That's just a regular thing I do.
So there isn't really a reason to look at the board then.
No. I should have.
But in the future, you probably will, because you know that just in case there's a UA, it'd be a good idea to look at that board.
Yeah.
All right. So Ms. Lako, as far as Mr. Ryder contacting you, when did he get a hold of you?
I received an email from, I believe his name was Jared, who is at the house first. And I contacted Mr. Ryder about the missed test, asking him, and he admitted it at that point, but that was a phone call with Mr. Ryder.
Okay.
I'm confused.
All right. When's your interview this week with NMC?
No, that one is already come and gone. This interview is with Chef. I have it written down. Chef Marcus Ford. He's like a VIP catering chef, and he does a lot of like like country club parties or personal party catering, and he does it out of this area and the kind of the general Leland area.
Your
Okay,
Honor.
when is the interview?
That interview is at Thursday at 11:30.
Okay. Did you have something else, Ms. Lako?
Yes, Your Honor, I wanted, Mr. Ryder did email me at 10:37 that day.
10:37 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, because at our team meeting, my understanding was that he hadn't really reached out to you, but apparently he did then.
He did after the phone call. And it could be like right around the same time. You know, I make a phone call to him and didn't get my, I'm working in different screens and didn't see my email. I don't know, but my notes say that I contacted him because I received an email from Jared.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As soon as I found out via someone texting me saying New Direction was trying to get a hold of me to let me know, I emailed Beth. So, but you know, I found out via text message because you know it had just happened. I guess you know they closed at 9 o'clock, so I found out at like I say after drug court was around 10:30 or quarter to 11.
Okay. Well, that somewhat changes my thoughts about the whole thing. All right, so this is a violation for fail to submit a urine screen on July 20th, and it's been explained that the defendant goes in daily for testing, so he doesn't really pay attention to the board, which would have indicated he had a UA that morning as well. And defendant claims that he did email as soon as he found out there was a problem. And that's somewhat a gray area because the messages went past each other real close in time anyway, the phone call and the message. So anyway, the recommendation was to serve a weekend in jail, and that was based on my understanding that, and I think the team's understanding that the defendant just didn't make any attempt to contact Ms. Lako. And now I'm thinking maybe we could have read that wrong, and I don't want to make assumptions that I'm not absolutely confident of. So let's see, rather than the weekend in jail, what I'm going to do is 8 hours of community service work for the missed UA, and let's see. The other thing I want to do is I want to get a discretionary test completed tonight at New Directions.
If it makes a difference, I did drop for New Directions yesterday. My code came up. I'll still take a discretionary if you want, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to do though, and but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And all right, so we are all set for this morning then with Mr. Ryder.
Quick question:
Yeah,
Do you want me to go in there and get that test right when New Direction opens tonight? Is that what I should do? Just want to make sure. Okay.
Yes.
Will do.
Yeah.
Will do.
And the community service work, I'd like that completed within, well, by the time of your next hearing date. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Johnson, I'm gonna put you in breakout room next with Ms. Worm. All right, and okay, let's go to Mr. Swisher next. And Mr. Swisher, how are things going for you?
They're going good. How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. So you're now at TC Retreat, correct?
Yes, sir. I've been here since Thursday.
Okay, how's that working out?
It's a process system of change,
Okay.
but it's going
Are you
good.
getting
It's going good.
Okay, you get along with the staff and the other residents?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our house meeting Sunday, and that was when I got to meet everybody, and we all got and everybody got to meet me and all that, and so it went well.
Okay. Now, how's work going?
It's going well. I'm getting about 40 hours a week now, and things seem to be okay. My hours are fluctuating. I went to work Monday morning at 3 a.m. I got out at 9 a.m. and then I had to be back to work Monday night at 7:45, and I got out at 4:45 this morning. And right now, I'm not sure when I got to be back to work again because the schedule doesn't get posted until 11 o'clock. But all I got to do is call the security shack, and they got the job posting and the job list that everybody gets assigned to. So I might have to be to work at 7:45 again tonight, or I might have to be to work at 3 a.m. or any time in between then.
Okay. Now, the last time we were here, I talked to you about the drug court team's concerns that the third shift was really not working well for you. We had a lot of seems like missed tests or things like that, and we really didn't have any concerns about use. It was more, it was late tests, I think, mainly. And so I thought I had ordered at that time that you talk to Sarah Lee, let them know that you're not available for third shift. Although right now I'm not quite sure what a third shift actually is. Is that normally the 7:45 to 4:45?
That would be a midnight shift, yes. But my 3 o'clock in the morning is basically a day shift job, is what I consider. I mean, I go to work at 3 a.m. I get out roughly around noonish, give or take an hour or two, depending on how well the line is working.
Does that cause any, the 3 a.m. to 9 a.m., does that cause you any issues as far as testing goes? I mean, because you probably have to test in there. Go ahead.
Nope, it's not an issue. I had talked to the HR director and I talked to the HR manager, and I have got the first and third Tuesday of each month permission to leave at 8:30 a.m. And I got the manager's signature on my time off request form for the next 3 years for that.
Okay. Did you, was that the compromise they made when you talked to them about the problem with third shift?
Yes, sir, that's what they came up with. They said they were willing to work with me, and they said that they didn't have no other jobs available because I am a classified job, and all I can do is move laterally for 1 year because I am a new employee, and I just got to move laterally. I got to stay in the same classification for 1 year. And they said there wasn't nowhere else, no other openings right now. So this is what they came up with. They said, we'll let you leave at 8:30 so that you can be to court every first and third Tuesday of the month. And I said, thank you very much.
What about the testing issues though? Because my understanding was you were late on tests because
I have talked to them, and they said if I need to take a break and take the test, that's fine. If I need an extra minute or two, that's fine. They understand. They say it's just pie. They will make more.
Okay. All right, well, I think what we're gonna do then is we're gonna, as a team, we'll discuss this further, knowing that they've told you that they really don't have any alternative shifts. And knowing that they've made some accommodations to try to help with the problem, and taking into account the fact that you're here today, you haven't had any violations, and it seems to be working. But I don't know what the rest of the team is going to think when we take that back and discuss it next Monday, but they may not have changed their minds at all. But at least we know where we stand with Sarah Lee anyway. They're saying they're not gonna move your shift around, but they'll make accommodations. But what I will say is that your recovery comes first, of course. And, you know, without the recovery, you know, the job's probably not gonna last anyway. And so, if, the thing that would really sabotage you is if you had some more of these late tests, or you weren't able to make it to a meeting or whatever, okay? So, I'll take it back to the team, we'll discuss it some more, and we'll go from there, okay? How are things going otherwise?
They're going pretty good. The manager of the house he informed me that I need an AA sponsor and not an NA sponsor. And I compromised with him and told him that I really needed an NA sponsor. And he says, well, you can keep your NA sponsor, but by next week, you need to have an AA sponsor. And so I guess I'm going to be dueling up on my sponsors. I'll have one NA sponsor and I'll have one AA sponsor. So I guess I can keep both my sponsors in check that way.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you think you need both? You agree with the manager there?
Not really drinking. I haven't had a drink in 20 some years, but that's part of the guidelines for living here at the house. And hey, I'm living at the house. I'll go by the guidelines. I have realized that in recovery, it's all about following direction.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and you seem to have a positive attitude about it. And there's, I'm sure the house manager there has enough experience. And we all know 25 years doesn't necessarily mean you're home free either. So,
No,
so I'm
that
glad
just
you're
means
willing to follow. What's that?
That just means I'm one day closer to my next drink.
Okay, good way to look at it. And well, I'm glad that you're willing to make those compromises to live at the TC retreat. And anyhow, well, keep up the good work anyway. You're doing just fine, and we'll go on to our next hearing here. So next up is Ashley Worm. And Mr. Johnson, have you discussed the violation with Ms. Worm, and what does she wish to do?
I have, Your Honor, and we've gone over the violation as well as her rights in regard to that violation and maximum penalties. She would be admitting to the violation at this time.
All right, so Ms. Worm, is that correct? You want to waive your right to a hearing and admit to the violation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. And you understand that by admitting to a violation, the worst that can happen is your probation could be revoked. You could be remanded to the circuit court on the possession of methamphetamine charge and sentenced up to 10 years in prison.
I understand.
Okay. And nobody's promised you anything or threatened, forced, or coerced you in any way to get you to waive your right to a hearing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I want you to think long and hard before you answer this question, but how did you violate the no contact order with Eric Edwards?
He came to my mom and dad's property.
All right, and why was he there? And did you have anything to do with him coming there?
My mom is the one who actually contacted him to come and pick up our child because her and my dad got into an argument. It was past curfew, so I couldn't go anywhere because I didn't want to get violated, but I knew I was going to get violated anyways because he was here at the premises.
Okay. Have you had other contacts with Mr. Edwards in violation of the no contact?
Yes, sir.
Think long and hard about, okay. Were some of those your fault?
It was mixed between both of us, yes.
All right. Because in the past, I didn't feel you were being honest about this whole situation, and the GPS records are certainly at odds with what you've told us before. And the honesty thing is obviously very important to successfully completing this program. So, all right, then to the violation, how do you plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, anything you'd like to say before I decide what to do here?
Your Honor, I had a very frank discussion with Ms. Worm, and I did represent her in the underlying case and had many discussions with her there. I think her biggest concern, or what she's trying to figure out, is how to operate in this drug court world with this parent in common and avoid this very situation. She understands that they're not good for each other right now and that they need to work on themselves. But, you know, one of the things was perhaps there's some counseling or something like that this court may recommend or order that could be kind of focused more on the relationship aspect of things. And obviously we're here dealing with substance abuse, but, you know, for her, I think she really is struggling with trying to figure out how to separate those two things. And obviously that's critical for her success. So I think that a proper resolution may include some sort of counseling or therapy that's targeted more towards the relationship end of things, and healthy relationships and how to be in them. And frankly, I think kind of how to get back in them, if, you know, how and when. And I think that might be very beneficial to her here. I get that there's been some dishonesty in the past, and, you know, the sort of the tether don't lie, obviously is correct. But Your Honor, I think to avoid this problem in the future, I think that there is a mental component for Ms. Worm that does need to be addressed.
All right, Ms. Worm, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to apologize to the court once again for violating this no contact order with Mr. Edwards. It is really hard on me, and I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I do not know how to stay out of contact with him. I know it's the best intentions for me right now to do that so I can focus on my recovery. It's just really hard.
All right, well, there was a reason for the no contact. And also up to date, we have Mr. Edwards, who's going to be here, and he's on a violation for the same thing, the no contact, but also when he was turning himself into the jail, he is alleged to have had methamphetamine and buprenorphine and cocaine in his system. And he's also alleged to have left a little baggie of what's believed to be drugs or drug paraphernalia outside the jail. And
I did not know that, Your Honor.
What we know about Mr. Edwards is that he is a bad influence on you. You were doing very well in this program until the no contact started, well, until Mr. Edwards came back to town and he started having contact, and then things went downhill very rapidly. And so it may be that Mr. Edwards, or your difficulty with staying away from Mr. Edwards will be resolved here, because right now the drug court team is recommending remanding him back to the circuit court. So that might solve the problem. You know, as far as the parenting, we were trying to make reasonable efforts to allow him to see the child, and that was through a third party. And you know, we get it. You know, there's two parents involved here, and that's important. But I think it goes beyond just the custody issue. I think it's you know, he's your Achilles heel when it comes to recovery. And so we were all a little bit surprised how well you were doing in the program again, until Mr. Edwards came into the picture, and it's been just a disaster since. So, all right, so I am going to follow the recommendations of the team. You're to report to the jail. I'll give you until 4 p.m. this afternoon. You'll be released on August 6th at the normal time. Okay, so that's 3 days in jail. I guess it's 4, technically, but you'll be out in the early morning on the 6th. And that's for the initial dishonesty regarding the no contact and the violation itself, but mainly because of the dishonesty and the fact that, you know, it's very difficult to work with someone that's trying to get around the program requirements. And that's to be expected. It's part of drug-seeking behaviors. People tell lies. They're dishonest with family and friends and making excuses. And so I understand that as well. But at some point, it just makes it impossible to work with someone in this way if they're dishonest with us. So I want you to understand that it's the dishonesty that is the reason for the days in jail here. So, all right, we're all set for today then with you, Ms. Worm, unless is there anything else you want to say?
No, nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you, though.
All right, so I'm gonna put Mr. Johnson in a breakout room now with, let's see, Ms. Cloud. Is Ms. Cloud here? She's in the jail, correct?
Yes, I get it for you, Ron.
Let's here in the room with Mr. Stewart for now. Okay, and I think, well, let's go to, so I think what we're gonna do at this point is at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna let those of you who I've already called go. We've got a number of probation violations. Unfortunately, this was not a good week. And that's going to take some time with folks visiting with Mr. Johnson and then having a hearing. So I'm going to let the rest of you go at this point. And stay safe and keep up the good work. And we'll see you back at your next hearing. The folks that I still need to deal with are going to be Ms. Cloud, Ms. Swayze, Mr. White, and let's see, I think Mr. Stewart's already in the room with Mr. Johnson, and we'll be dealing with Eric Edwards also later this morning. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Johnson, did you get into the room with? Yeah, Mr. Stewart's in the breakout room already.
Yeah, I spoke with him. I had spoken with him earlier, so we're all set.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so this is People versus Michael Stewart, and we're here today on a probation violation, unfortunately. And Mr. Johnson, have you spoken with Mr. Stewart, and what does he wish to do?
I have, Your Honor. We've reviewed the allegations of a missed AM, PVT, and urine screen on 7/23. We've gone over his rights to a hearing, as well as right to an attorney, as well as the maximum penalty. He wishes to waive his right to a hearing and admit to that violation here this morning.
All right, so Mr. Stewart, is that correct? You want to waive your right to a hearing and admit to the violation?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And like the others that I've asked this question, you understand that the worst that could happen is your probation could be revoked. You could be sentenced up to the maximum time in jail, minus any credit for time served.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you haven't been threatened, forced, coerced, or promised anything to get you to waive your right to a hearing today, correct?
Nope.
Okay. So, is it true that you missed both a morning pulmonary breath test and urine screening on July 23rd that were ordered by the court as part of your probation?
Yes, Your Honor. I slept right through all three of my alarms, and then I contacted Beth immediately upon my way into town.
Okay, I was aware of that. So into the violation itself, how do you plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Johnson, anything you want to add on Mr. Stewart's behalf?
Your Honor, we would just be asking that the court follow the recommendation. I do believe that it is appropriate. I believe that he will be taking additional steps going forward to make sure that this doesn't happen again and he's not sleeping through anything, whether that's extra alarms or a watch that beeps or something like that, just to make absolutely sure that it does not happen again. The one thing he would be asking is he is working today. His shift ends at 4, but he indicates he could be showered and to the jail by 5 o'clock this evening.
Right. Mr. Stewart, anything you'd like to add?
Nope. I accept responsibility for my actions. I did, however, go out and buy a new alarm clock because I don't know whether it's just I've gotten used to my alarm clock, because this isn't the first occasion that I've slept through something per se with these alarms. So I just went out, broke down, went out and bought a new alarm clock. I'm sorry for what I did. And, you know, I'm still working my program and working hard and doing what I got to do, man. This is a setback that I'm just going to deal with and get it done with and move on.
All right. Well, we've overlooked a number of violations, or we've taken it easy on you, but
absolutely,
you know, the biggest concern I have with you, Mr. Stewart, is, and I've expressed this before, that I think you're overdoing it at work, perhaps.
All right.
You need to talk to them about, you know, cutting back a bit, and how important it is that your recovery come first. And when you sleep, you know, you sleep through your alarms and you're unable to get up, that is an indication to me that there's, well, you're overdoing it somewhere. Maybe you're not getting to sleep early enough or something. But just to underscore the seriousness of it, and those concerns, I am going to sentence you to an overnight in jail. I'll allow you to turn yourself in at 5 o'clock tonight, and you'll be out the regular time the next day. But I also want you to write an essay while you're in the jail. I want you to get enough sleep, but also I want you to write an essay about how you could restructure your work schedule. If you could ideally ask your boss what could be done differently, what those recommendations would be, okay?
All righty.
All right.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Hold on.
Okay, well, like I say, you know, we've given you quite a bit of slack here. Sometimes I think I'm a little bit too soft, and when I do that, you kind of slip into bad habits, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Because overall, you've done extremely well in this program. No one in the team had concerns that you were using. It was all, you know, we believed what you said about just sleeping in, and you did the right thing. You called Beth right away. So anyhow, we'll view the sanction as a reason to have you sit in jail and think about how you're gonna prevent that from happening in the future, and hopefully we'll get you back on track. Okay?
All righty. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart. And if you need to leave the meeting at this time, that's fine, okay?
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. All right, we'll go on to, I need to put Mr. Johnson in a breakout. Have you talked with any of the other persons that have violations this morning, Mr. Johnson?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's put you in a room with Ms. Swayze next. And we'll get to you next, Mr. White, and then we'll go to Ms. Cloud after that. Morning, Mr. Petoskey. I see you're here for your 1015 probation violation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have an attorney?
Yes, Your Honor. It's Craig Alhart.
Okay. We're probably gonna be another 15, 20 minutes before we get to your hearing, just so you're aware, okay? And I don't believe Mr. Alhart has.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Johnson, have you now had an opportunity to discuss the alleged violations of Ms. Swayze, and what does she wish to do?
I have, Your Honor, as well as the maximum penalties. She would be admitting to the violations here this morning, and in so doing, waiving her right to a hearing and court-appointed attorney at that hearing.
So Ms. Swayze, is that correct? You want to waive your right to a hearing and an attorney admit to the violation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson has apparently gone over the maximum penalties with you, and you understand all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And no one's threatened, forced, coerced, or promised you anything to get you to waive your right to a hearing and an attorney today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then, is it true that on July 29th, you tested positive for THC in violation of your probation conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And is it also true that you tampered with a urine screen on 7/29? And
Yes, Your Honor.
okay. And let's see, then to both of those violations, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll accept your guilty pleas, finding it voluntary and understanding accurate. So, Mr. Johnson, anything you'd like to say on behalf of Ms. Swayze?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've explained to Ms. Swayze, as I know the drug court has, that there is a zero tolerance policy for marijuana, regardless of what our state might be doing regarding recreational marijuana and other things like that. She understands that. I've indicated to her that if the use is related to some, whether it's pain or sleeping or something like that, she really needs to consult a doctor about something other than marijuana, because as this court so often states, sort of the litmus test of a problem is when if you're going to do something, you're going to go to jail for it. And obviously Ms. Swayze knew that she wasn't allowed to use this and knew that frankly jail would be a likely consequence, and yet she chose to use anyway. So she understands that can't be a thing going forward, that if she wants to be successful in this program and successful in her life, she needs to get that stuff out of her system. And at this time, Your Honor, we'd just be asking that the court follow the recommendations. That being said, Your Honor, she is starting a new job at Randy's Diner, and she's working Wednesday and Thursday. So if she could turn herself in Thursday afternoon by 4 p.m. to serve the 3 days in jail, that would be much appreciated.
All right, Ms. Swayze, anything you'd like to say?
I would just like to say that I am really sorry for my lapse of judgment. I was going through just stressful things, trying to find employment. The sponsor, I cracked under pressure and I made a rash decision, and it wasn't the correct decision. And I see that now. And I apologize for tampering with my sample. I reverted back to my old behaviors, and I see now that that was not the way to go. And I would just like to thank the court for giving me the opportunity to prove myself again.
Okay, well, I appreciate your comments. The problem, as I see it, it's not the THC so much as it is tampering with a urine screen. And there's a reason why we're gonna start doing a mouth swab as well as hands-free drug screens every time. And that's because this has been a one of your past behaviors, you try to cheat the test. And of course, you're just cheating yourself and you're not getting the benefits of the program when you do that. And New Directions folks are on to it. They're on to you as far as they know that this is a behavior, common behavior, and you've gotten really good at it, frankly. But anyway, with the mouth swabs and the hands-free testing, I hope that this doesn't happen again and you're not tempted to try to cheat the test. I am going to go along with the recommendation of the drug court team for the 3 days in jail. I'll allow you to begin that sentence on Thursday afternoon after your normal work shift. When does that end?
At 2:30, Your Honor.
So we'll give you until 4 o'clock to get yourself turned in. And let's see, so you'll be there Thursday, Friday, and you'll get out at the normal time on Saturday. All right. All right. That's it. Then for today, Ms. Swayze, feel free to sign off at this time if you like.
Thank you.
Mr. Alhart, I see you and your client are here. We've got a couple more drug court review hearings to take up.
Your Honor, please take your time. I'm in no rush, and I'm happy to watch drug court and see what's going on.
Okay. I might be able to slip you in here though, because I need to have Mr. Johnson speak with Mr. White next. So
I think that our case will be rather rapid. We'd ask that you adjourn everything until the case in principle is being heard.
No, the lawyer is on. Do you need to talk to your lawyer? No. Is that your lawyer?
Who's that speaking? Says Sharon's iPhone.
Oh, Sharon's iPhone. Yeah, honey, you do need to log in here. Oh, maybe I need to leave.
All right, I'm gonna mute whoever is on Sharon's iPhone. I'm not sure if you're here for a hearing or not, but anyhow. All right, well, Mr. Johnson is speaking to Mr. White. I am gonna go to Mr. Petoskey's case. And this is a probation violation hearing, People versus Petoskey. Mr. Alhart is here on behalf of Mr. Petoskey. Ms. Morton is here for his probation office. So Mr. Alhart, what does your client wish to do?
As I indicated moments ago, we'd like to adjourn this matter while the case in chief is being litigated. I'm sure we're going to be able to reach resolutions to all issues rather rapidly, but I do need to talk to the prosecutor's office and go from there. Did I lose you, Your Honor?
No, I'm just taking a look at the violation report here. And
Mr. Petoskey pulled another DV out of this as well, Your Honor.
But the violations include missing tests as well as that charge. And so I guess my concern is Mr. Petoskey now testing. Now I don't know who's that speaking right now.
It's coming from Mr. Petoskey.
Oh, is that you, Mr. Petoskey?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. Mr. Petoskey does have an in-home device currently. He's currently residing in Manistee and does have an in-home device, is using it regularly.
it just seems to me that we could bypass any discussion of a violation for contact with Susan Wilson for the allegation of a domestic and address the testing, because that seems to be a completely separate issue. So, Mr. Elhart, what do you think about that?
Well,
Well,
hello, Your Honor.
Hang on a second. I don't think Mr. Petoskey's hearing what's going on is the problem. Mr. Petoskey, can you hear me?
Not, Your Honor.
Okay,
Your
looks like
Honor,
we got a
keeps breaking
connection
in and
problem.
out. Yes, sir.
Okay. I think it's on your end, Mr. Petoskey. Can you hear me now? Yeah, he's having
I
a lot
can
of
barely
trouble.
hear you, and the picture, my picture keeps freezing on me. And the sound's going in and out. I'm sorry.
All right. Mr. Elhart, this is what I'm willing to do is reschedule this for sometime next week on just the violations related to the violation of the testing requirements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Wait to receive notice.
Okay, and so you'll talk to Mr. Petoskey about that, and you can decide whether he wants to have a hearing on that or whether we need to take other action. So,
I certainly will. Thank you.
So we're gonna have to set this at 10 o'clock on the 10th.
Is that gonna work for you, Mr. Elhart, 10 o'clock on the 10th?
We'll make it work. If it doesn't, I'll advise the court. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, Mr. Petoskey, can you hear me? If you can hear me.
Barely,
you're fine
Your
to-
Honor.
Yeah, I want you to hang up and call your attorney.
Oh, I will.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Johnson and Mr. White are back now, and so, Mr. Johnson, have you spoken with Mr. White? What do you wish to do today?
I have, Your Honor, and at this time, Mr. White would be admitting to the violation, in so doing, waiving his right to a hearing and to counsel at that hearing. We've been over the maximum penalty and as well the recommendation.
All right, so Mr. White, is that correct? You want to waive your right to an attorney and a hearing and admit to the violation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and no one's used any force, threats, or coercion or promised you anything to get you to waive your rights, correct?
No, Your Honor.
And you understand that the worst that could happen is your probation could be revoked. You could be sent back to circuit court for sentencing on a 10-year felony. And that's not the recommendation, obviously, but that is a possibility. You understand all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so is it true as part of your probation you were not to use any controlled substances, including buprenorphine, without a prescription?
I have a prescription, Your Honor.
All right, have you provided that to Ms. Lako?
I actually have not. I just actually had my doctor's appointment yesterday, and I actually did provide her this morning with an email with the letter from my doctor.
All right, and were you aware that buprenorphine is not allowed in this program?
I was aware of that. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so can you explain to me what your thought process was there to go out and get a prescription for buprenorphine without even discussing the matter with the drug court team?
Well, Your Honor, I've been on buprenorphine for the last 2 years with my opioid addiction and was doing well with it until I relapsed. I was in jail when I spoke with Miss Lako. I did say that I had been on Suboxone, but I was not on it at the time because I was in jail. When I got discharged from jail to rehab, when I went there, they asked me when I did my intake for me to bring all my medications, and I did, and I was having a hard time with detox and withdrawal, and they actually gave it to me in rehab. When I was in rehab, I broke a tooth off, and it became completely abscessed, and that's why I got discharged early from rehab because of a medical. They were very concerned about it. So I'm actually in the process. I have to get this tooth surgically removed tomorrow morning. But that's my thought process. I've been struggling with, not being able to take this medication. It did help me in the past. I did express this with my doctor and my counselor yesterday at Munson Family Practice. And they said that they would, discuss options with me if I am allowed. I didn't know if there was a way to be on this medication. I'm not real sure here.
Did you tell them that you were in the drug court program? And that
yes, I did, Your Honor. I did tell them that, and they said that they have several members that are in drug court that were on this medication, and that I needed to provide them with this letter. So that's why I provided that letter to see if the court would approve it or not.
Okay, well, whoever you were talking to doesn't know a whole lot about the program then.
Okay.
Because that's not true.
Okay, Your Honor.
And frankly, it's not up to me. It's you're on a circuit court probation. The circuit court has a blanket order that while you are on circuit court probation, you're not to use Suboxone. And frankly, you came into the court with a meth problem, and Suboxone is usually for an opioid addiction, not a meth issue. So it's kind of bizarre in the first place that they would be prescribing Suboxone when you're convicted of a possession of meth in this case.
Well, in the past, I was a severe opioid addict. I was on heroin and opioids, so that's why I've been on it for the last 2 years.
And obviously, you wouldn't be in drug court right now if that had been a successful strategy.
Exactly. No, I understand that, and I want to do it free and clear and not have to have anything. I just I just need I need to get into my counseling. I need to get some help. I've been doing all my meetings. I need to get this tooth out too. That's a big issue too with me right now. I'm struggling with that. So.
Okay. Have you got an appointment to take care of that tooth?
Yes, it's actually tomorrow. Tomorrow morning. They were going to try and remove it last week, but the infection was so bad that they couldn't numb me up or get the tooth numb to pull it out. So
they got to put you under. Is that what they're going to do?
Nope. They gave me a course of antibiotics, which kind of tamed the tooth down a little bit. And I guess with the lack of infection inside there, that they'll be able to numb me up and hopefully get this tooth out without having to put me under. And I did provide Ms. Lego with that prescription at our last meeting.
All right. And so the tooth is being pulled tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And can you tell me a little bit more about Meridian Rehab? What happened there that you were discharged after only 10 days? Is it just because of the tooth?
So I was approved for 14 days of rehab. On day 10, I was eating a hard candy and actually sheared my front tooth off pretty much. It's right by my canine, and a bunch of pus and just gross stuff just started coming out of it and filling my mouth up. And I went to the detox in there and spoke with them, and they said, you need medical attention immediately because that could go septic. And I spoke with my counselors and with my with the whole MT team, and they all said that was my best course of action and that I would be, I had a successful discharge.
Okay. And it was at Meridian that they prescribed the Suboxone for the first time, or you weren't using when you were at Meridian?
No, I was using at Meridian. I brought all my medications down because they told me to bring all my medications down. So when I went down, I had all my medications with me.
All right. Mr. Johnson, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, Your Honor, I just, I feel like this is a difficult one. The problem being, obviously, he's going to be in a significant amount of pain tomorrow. And I understand that detox needs to happen. I just would, I guess, be concerned with doing that at the same time that he's having what's going to be a painful procedure happening. So I completely understand the court stance and the circuit court's ruling. I think that Mr. White was a little confused, and certainly I've indicated to him in the future, he needs to reach out and be proactive and not reactive on anything like this, and including with his surgery tomorrow, if there's some prescription that is ordered. But Your Honor, I guess I would ask the court to treat this as a warning, give him a few days to detox after the surgery that he has tomorrow.
All right, I would like some input from the drug court team. Mr. Hamlin, Mr. Risk, any thoughts on this matter?
I'll let Mr. Risk go first, Your Honor.
Thank you. I don't have a recommendation. It's a very complicated situation. I just had a tooth out, so I know that experience. But I'm sorry, I can't provide any meaningful input at this time.
Your Honor, I guess I have some thoughts, and Mr. White, some of them involve the buprenorphine, and that's not a grand discussion that we'll have this morning. What I would offer to you is perhaps when you talk to your doctors about it, because in certain situations, it can be very effective as a way to help people step down over a very brief course at the beginning of a process. But if it were, you were on it for 2 years, let's say, right, which is
Yes.
longer than I think probably most addiction folks would say is necessary if it's not being stepped down to progressively zero. And the other part is the concern that I have always had with it for folks in your position is that it is used like a crutch. And that's almost the word it looked like you were looking for when you were talking about it. You needed that to help bridge the gap. And so I think what the program is designed to do is to replace that and give you the skills, to do that. And obviously the tooth thing in rehab so that you have to leave, right, interrupts that process, but it's still the same. And so I think what we've all talked about this morning and try to help folks understand is as soon as there's an issue, reach out and talk to Ms. Lako so that we can come up with a better solution and replace the bridge and give you something better. The tooth, Mr. Risk and Mr. Johnson kind of talked about it for the tooth. My first thought when you mentioned that was what kind of medication are they going to give you? And does the doctor know that you're in drug court? Because they obviously can't give you a narcotic pain reliever. So that was my first thought on that one. I think that, you know, that we've had some trouble, I think, communicating with Meridian to get medical records. I think that you can probably help us out there and get us a full copy of that so that we can understand.
I will reach out today.
Yep, the full breadth of what's going on there. Your Honor, in terms of the remainder of it, so to speak, I guess I would just ask perhaps that it be reset for next week. Maybe for a probation violation sentencing. That way we can see how the tooth issue goes. The team can discuss how we're going to proceed forward given the Suboxone issue. And if we need to have any discussions with Mr. White and or his doctor, we can certainly do that, sir.
All right, well, I think that makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't feel comfortable imposing jail time, at least in the near future. So because of the tooth issue in conjunction with the fact that that would involve immediate cessation of Suboxone. So this is what I'm going to do instead. I want you to talk to Meridian. You should contact them today and tell them you want a complete copy of your records forwarded to the to Ms. Lago. And in addition, I want you to contact Munson Behavioral Health. And I understand they're probably not able to talk to you immediately, but I want you to contact them today also and tell them the circumstances with the drug court, that you are not allowed to use Suboxone and you're going to need to titrate off that. And I will let them deal with the situation, I guess, involving the tooth and how to best titrate you off the Suboxone. But that needs to happen quickly.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I want you to be very strict, very frank with them that the judge said there is no Suboxone in the drug court program, so that whoever you talk to knows that. But I think they do know that, and I'm surprised that we're in this situation. We'll hold the 3 days in advance until we have our next hearing next week. I hope the surgery goes well with your tooth. And
thank you, Your Honor.
We'll see. Yeah. So it's got to be miserable. So anyway,
it is.
If you can take care of those two, yeah. So if you can take care of those two things today, Munson Behavioral Health and the records from Meridian, and we'll see you next week. And again, good luck with the tooth. Okay. You're
all right, Your Honor. Now, are you when you say next week, are you talking a week from today or 2 weeks?
Yes, you'll be here for a hearing next week. Okay. We're gonna meet next Tuesday, and I'm gonna put you on the schedule because we need to address this situation. Okay.
Okay, Your Honor. Sounds good.
Ms. Laco?
Yes, Your Honor. Can we please request on the record that I need a copy of Mr. White's current prescription for Suboxone? I received a written letter from his physician that he's on it, but I don't know when it was ordered or how long he's been on it. It's just a letter saying he is on it. So if I could request a copy of his prescription.
I will get that to you right now.
Okay. All right. So that's another order. All right. We're all set then for today. And I'm going to put you can sign off, Mr. White. I'm going to put Mr. Johnson in the breakout room with Ms. Cloud now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Wasagishik. Can you hear me? Hear me, Mr. Wasagishik?
Your Honor, it looked like when he was logging on, there was an X next to the audio. So I'm not sure that connected.
So that X means that his audio is not turned on or something, or
I believe so, sir.
what do you think? Can I send him a chat message?
He should be able to get that because I think it would pop up on his screen, Your Honor.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, good morning, Mr. Wasagishik. It's going to be a little bit here. We've got a couple more hearings before we get to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, I see Mr. Johnson's back, so let's get the jail back. All right, there she is. Miss Cloud, are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so this is file 204470 FY People versus Deanna Cloud, and Mr. Johnson is here on behalf of Ms. Cloud. This is the date set for a arraignment on a probation violation. Mr. Johnson, have you spoken with Ms. Cloud, and what does she wish to do?
Yes, Your Honor. We've reviewed the violations as well as the recommendations. We've also spoken about the maximum penalties. At this time, she'd be waiving her right to a hearing and an attorney and admitting to the violations, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cloud, is that correct? You want to waive your right to both a hearing and an attorney and admit to the violations?
Yeah.
have you been threatened, forced, coerced, or promised anything to get you to admit to the violations?
No.
And you understand the worst that could happen is that you could be, your probation could be revoked, you could be remanded to the circuit court on the original charge and face up to the maximum penalty on that. I think it was a 2-year.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So is it true that you were placed on probation on April 27th of this year? And as a condition of that probation, you were to take and pass AM and PM pulmonary breath tests as well as urine screens.
Yes.
And is it true that you missed your evening pulmonary breath test on May 10th?
Yes.
Okay, and is it also true you failed to provide verification of those results for both the AM and the PM pulmonary breath tests since May 10th? You basically haven't been testing since then.
Yes.
And is it also true that on May 8th, you failed to return to your recovery home by the curfew time?
Yes.
And you were at some point removed from that recovery house or left the recovery house, is that correct?
Yes.
And finally, you failed to check in with your probation officer since May 10th, is that true?
Yes.
All right, so then all those violations, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Right, I'll accept the plea and find that it's voluntary, accurate understanding. So, Mr. Johnson, what would you like to say on behalf of Ms. Cloud?
Well, Your Honor, we would be asking that you follow the recommendations and let the drug court team take a look at this. Obviously, Ms. Cloud is off to a horrendous start. I don't think there's any arguing around that. You know, all of this happened within about 13 days of getting started, and she had other prior violations during those 13 days. In speaking with Ms. Cloud, she needs help. She desperately needs help. She indicates that she has zero outside support, that everyone that she's involved with outside is a user. And what I've indicated to her is, you know, sometimes it's the drug court team that becomes that support group, the meetings, and then also the drug court team personnel that are involved here. I think that the drug court team should seriously consider intensive inpatient treatment for Ms. Cloud. I know that they've discussed this in the past, but I think there's no ifs, ands, ors, or buts about it. You know, this is a 2-year. So if she were to go up to the circuit court, she's probably looking at a relatively short, I don't have her criminal background, but relatively short local sentence, and is out on the street with zero support once again, and likely before us again in a very similar situation. So I would just urge that the drug court team take a very serious look at some sort of intensive recovery that's not a voluntary house that she's supposed to report back to or something like that, but something where she's you know, held very accountable for her actions.
All right, Ms. Cloud, you basically skipped out on the program, and you're in a very difficult situation right now. And my understanding is we've tried to get you into a treatment bed, and you're not eligible for that, partly because you had just come out of a treatment program. And so anyhow, what are your thoughts?
I really need help. I don't have anyone, and I really want to do this because I have 3 kids, and I need I need to do better for them. I'm only 23 and I still got a lot way to go. And I don't want to sit and get kicked out of drug court because then again, like he said, that I would get let out and I still wouldn't get the needs that I need help. And I still would be let out with no support and no one there for me. I just really want to do this. I really need to get better for my kids and I need to quit messing up and just thinking about myself.
Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do today is to have you back for sentencing on our next drug court day. We need to have a plan going forward. And I'm hoping at that time we can release you. It probably won't be to a recovery program because, again, we don't have the eligibility requirements, which is hard to understand because you obviously need it. And that's where you should be in a recovery home right now. But anyhow, I'm not going to let you out of jail because I think we know exactly where you'd end up. Probably have to put out a bench warrant behind you for sentencing next week, but hopefully we'll have a plan in place by our next drug court program and we'll take care of them. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. We're all set for this morning, Ms. Cloud, and we'll see you next Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to put you in a room with Mr. Edwards. And that'll be our last hearing for this morning.
Should be all set. Hello, Your Honor.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Wasagishik. And let's see, this is the date for a probation violation hearing. It's my understanding that you were in front of the magistrate and indicated you wanted to plead to the violation. And is that still true?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm assuming the attorney that was there at the time advised you do have a right to an attorney, including expense if you are unable to afford it. Is that true?
Can you say again, Your Honor? There was quite a few questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was the jail. I think they've logged off now, so I'll repeat that. You have a right to an attorney, including one appointed at public expense if you're unable to afford one. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want to waive that right in order to plead guilty today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're also waiving your right to a hearing to contest the allegations against you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and do you understand that the worst that could happen is you could be, your probation could be revoked on this 1-year misdemeanor. You could be sentenced up to a year in jail as a result of admitting to a probation violation. And that's not what is recommended, but that's the worst that could happen. You understand that?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And you haven't been threatened or forced or coerced or promised anything to get you to waive your right to your hearing today, have you?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so is it true that from February 1st through February 22nd, you were ordered as part of your probation to provide proof of twice daily pulmonary breath testing, and you failed to do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's also because you didn't take tests from February 1st to February 22nd, correct?
I believe so, but I don't remember those dates.
Okay, at a minimum, you didn't provide any verification of testing, right?
When I came back from my samurai, Your Honor, I started testing, but in February, I believe I missed those tests twice a day.
Okay. Did you also admit that you consumed alcohol on February 20th when you were arrested on the new charge?
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then to those violations, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll accept your plea, find it voluntary, accurate, and understanding. And so what would you like to tell me about the violations?
When I came back from treatment in May, I started doing good. Then my counselor from the DTB was off, and that time I really needed my counseling, and I over relapsed because the passed away of my father in coming June, and that's when I really dove down deep, and I lost control of my sobriety, and it really meant a lot to me, and I'm still working on it today. You know, it's something I want to do to keep my sobriety.
Okay, well, that's number one for you right now, is you need to get this alcohol problem under control. What's going on with the Saginaw case? Is that set for trial, or have you taken care of that new charge?
I took that, Your Honor. I pled guilty to that, and while I was out in treatment.
All right. Did you get any additional jail time out of that?
No.
All right. Well, Mr. YYYYY, the most helpful thing I could do for you right now is to go along with this sentence and recommendation, and that is to continue your probation, but sentence you to 90 days in jail with community corrections to review your case as soon as possible. Okay? So they don't have to wait the standard number of days on a 90-day sentence to review your case. Hopefully they'll accept you into the program right away. And there'll be more monitoring and more accountability there. And to accomplish that, I do need you to turn yourself in by 5 p.m. This afternoon. The community corrections folks will be meeting with you at the jail and probably getting a monitor on you right away, okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
A monitor for.
All right. So yourself turned in 5 o'clock today to the Leelanau County Jail, and I wish you best of luck. I hope that we're able to get you back on track here, okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You can feel free to log out at this time, all right?
Okay.
Okay, let's go back to the Eric Edwards case. Mr. Johnson is here on the defense behalf. This is file 203356FY one, Mr. Hamlin is here for the people, and Ms. Lako and Mr. Risk from the drug court team. So, Mr. Johnson, what does Mr. Edwards wish to do today?
Your Honor, we've reviewed the allegations of probation violations, as well as the recommendations. We've gone over the maximum penalty as well. At this point in time, Mr. Edwards would be waiving his right to a hearing and an attorney and admitting to the violations and then asking to be heard.
Okay, so Mr. Edwards, is that correct? You've been advised of your right to an attorney, including one appointed at public expense if you qualify, and you want to waive right to an attorney and to a hearing and admit to the violation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you're aware that the worst that could happen, and in fact what's being recommended, is that you be discharged from the drug court unsuccessfully, remanded back to circuit court, where you face a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Has anyone promised you anything to get you to waive your right to an attorney or a hearing?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Has anyone threatened, forced, or coerced you in any way to get you to waive your right to a hearing or an attorney today?
No, sir.
So it's your own free will to admit to the violations, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you were placed on probation in April of this year with drug court, and as a condition of that, you were not to use or possess any controlled substances without a prescription, and you weren't to use any illegal drugs either. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And is it true that on July 28th, you turned yourself into the Grand Traverse County Jail, and when you did that, you were tested, and the test came back positive for cocaine, methamphetamine, and buprenorphine?
Yes and no. I don't know how I tested positive for the buprenorphine or methamphetamine, because I didn't use those substances at all. But I did fail for cocaine, and I admit using cocaine.
Okay. All right. So the defendant has admitted to using the cocaine. So as to that violation, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right. I will accept your plea and find it's voluntary, accurate, and understanding. So, Mr. Johnson, is there anything you want to say on Mr. Edwards' behalf?
Your Honor, this is a complicated one. Obviously, Mr. Edwards has had a litany of issues. That being said, he has indicated that he is benefiting from the program. He has made some strides, and he is wishing to continue. I've indicated to him that is going to require him doing a lot of convincing to the drug court team as to why he can be successful in the future given the past. But Your Honor, we would ask that perhaps this be remanded prior to sentencing and reviewed by the drug court team, with Mr. Edwards being permitted to give some input as to why he believes he can be successful going forward.
Right, Mr. Edwards, I would like to hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor. First off, I just want to apologize because my actions were totally just out of my character. I got so wrapped up in this no contact thing that I let it bring me down. And I started to feel like a victim, and that's something that addicts do a lot, is play a victim card or feel like they've been wronged. So, and then that eventually turns into me using. And I don't know if I did that subconsciously or not, but you know, I should have looked at it like you guys are just protecting my family. You're not trying to hurt me. You're not trying to hurt her. You just wanted to make sure that I was safe to be around. And I just didn't look at it like that until I got in here. And I just apologize for it. And since I've been in here, I've been reading the big book. I did steps 1 through 4. Ms. Lako, I bet you'll like to hear this because we had a little dispute on the 3rd step. But the first step is admitting that I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol. The 2nd step, knowing that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. 3rd step, giving our will and our lives over to the care of God as our understanding. And the 4th step, make a searching and fearless inventory of my life. And in doing that, I just realized that I've made a huge mistake, but I'm so willing to learn from it and move forward from it. And I mean, it doesn't look like it on paper, but my past 20 years of my life, I've been totally, just totally off balance, totally in the wrong crowd, totally doing the wrong things. And it's unacceptable. But at least now I can realize that it's unacceptable behavior because I didn't before, you know, and I want to change so bad. I really do. I'm not lying about that at all. And I'm not saying that I'm justifying my actions because they were not supposed to happen, and I know that. But I'm just asking you to maybe punish me, you know, hold me accountable, but please don't give up on me yet, because I don't want to stop. I don't want to quit quitting. You know, I messed up. I totally did. And I turned myself in for that. And I just really, I failed you guys. I failed myself, but most of all, I failed my son. And he deserves his dad. And sending me to prison, I can guarantee you ain't going to make me a better man. You know, I'm going to come back with face tattoos and a gang. You know, I'm not going to be a better father from that. And it scares the daylights out of me because most of my family's in prison or getting out. And they're not the same person they were when they went in. So I just begging the drug court team to give me one more chance. And I can promise you I'll totally not contact Ashley at all until you guys are convinced that I'm safe to be around. And I will not fail any more drug tests. I just totally, I don't know. The addiction is cunning and baffling, and it caught me up again. But I didn't. I just want to learn from it and move forward from it. And I just hope that you guys will give me at least just one more shot. And I know I probably don't deserve it, but I'm asking from the bottom of my heart. And I mean everything I'm saying. I'm not trying to pull your leg or anything. I mean, I'm desperate. I want help and I want to change. I just am having trouble doing so.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwards. Mr. Hamlin, anything for the people?
Well, Your Honor, and Mr. Edwards, I appreciate you saying all of that. That probably is the most insight that I've heard you relay to the court or the drug court team the entire time that you've been here. The problem from at least my perspective as a member of the drug court team is that those issues were not out of character. It's been the pattern that we've dealt with, unfortunately. And it quite frankly, not only impacted your recovery and your place in this program, but it affected another participant who was doing well prior to that interference. And it's not a situation or a relationship that's going to change for better or worse. It's going to be in place for a long time. And at least, past behavior is the best indicator that we have for future behavior. And I don't know that that's going to change, unfortunately. I don't think, I don't think that going to circuit court is an automatic prison term for you. I think that if you do go to circuit court, you'd have the access to the community corrections help, which in some ways can give you a lot of the same programming that drug court can. At least from my perspective on the team, I think that is the beneficial option for you. I don't think that drug court is any longer beneficial for you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hamlin. So this is sentencing on a probation violation for testing positive for cocaine. I would note that the same test also indicated positive for methamphetamine and buprenorphine, and that the defendant does have although he denies using those, the original conviction in this case was for possession of methamphetamine. And so the defendant has a habit of abusing both methamphetamine and buprenorphine. So in considering not just the cocaine, but I'm also considering that there were these other substances that were tested for and they tested positive. There's also previous probation violations for missing tests, although those are minor compared to the fact that the defendant violated his curfew, that he violated the no contact order with Ashley Worm. That's why he was turning himself in the first place to the jail. I'm actually surprised that he would show up to the jail with all of these substances in your system, and it just shows the grip that addiction has on you, and it's unfortunate. And I don't doubt that you're not lying when you say you want to be clean and you want to get past this. And it's I wish there was a magic wand I could wave and make that happen, but it's up to you. And the thing is, it's at some point I almost have to choose either you or Ms. Worm. And frankly, Ms. Worm was doing just fine in this program. In fact, we were amazed at her progress until you came back into the picture, and then everything fell apart. And as far as your child goes, he deserves at least one parent. And I think you're both going to be out of the program here very quickly if you remain in the program. I know Mr. Hamlin had concerns from the very beginning about even having you in the program, given that Ms. Worm was in the program also. So I agree with Mr. Hamlin. It's not necessarily a prison sentence. Removing you from the drug court, it's certainly a possibility. But there is the possibility you'll get into the community corrections or some other program. But at this point, I just can't go along with the continued dishonesty, and frankly, your statements about the no contact were just obviously not true. We had GPS information to show that there were prolonged and substantial contacts with Ms. Worm, and although you admitted some kind of incidental contact, running into each other at an intersection or something, it was clear that it was a lot more than that. So anyhow, given all of the violations so far, including the bond violations in this case, the continued contact, and the latest allegations that could possibly result in new charges, I am going to discharge you from the drug court, and unsuccessfully you'll be remanded back to the circuit court for sentencing. Do we know when that sentencing date will be, Ms. Odom?
I'm sorry, I don't, Judge. I don't have the paperwork.
So you'll get a notice of when that sentencing is going to be, and you're remanded again until your sentencing at least. Let's see, is there anything else we need to take up at this time, Mr. Hamlin? Mr. Risk, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to say to Mr. Edwards, I hope you take the words of Mr. Hamlin seriously. I was impressed with what you said today. I think you can get to that core. But what bothered me probably more than anything else was the dishonesty. And I understand that as a way of survival for an addict. But I do hope you get into community corrections. I do hope you don't go to prison. But if there's one thing that I see you need to change is you just need to be an open book. You can't give any false information. You can't be a player. And I've seen a lot of, I've been in drug court and sobriety court for a long time. And the people that aren't honest, that don't really let us in and know exactly what's going on are the ones that are going to fail. And I don't want you to fail. So, I mean, you're intelligent. I know you want it. So I hope you do get into community corrections and work very hard.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, I wish you good luck as well. I do hope that you're able to overcome this problem and become a real father to your son and productive member of the community. With that, we're all set for this morning. You can let the staff know you're done. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We had a busy morning here. I appreciate all your help.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks to the drug court as well. Mr. Hamlin, are you here for the preliminary examination?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, who do we have at phone number 231-463-5472?
That's Mr. Joseph Cranston, sir.
All right. And, Mr. Cranston, do you have an attorney?
I do not.
Your Honor, if I could, I think he just submitted. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Ms. Odom, I think was going to relay that he just submitted his request for a court-appointed attorney, Your Honor. So at this point, I would just ask for an adjournment.
Okay. Do you have the court-appointed attorney form?
Let me look here. Call from defendant. Email both. Looks like somebody emailed it to him and he's not gotten it back. Do you want to fill one out while we've got him here?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and fill it out right now.
Alrighty.
There's some confusion about where the form went to, so we'll just do it right now. If you could raise your right hand and tell me when you've got it raised.
Yes, sir, it is.
Do you swear or affirm that the statement you're about to make regarding your financial condition will be true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, and what is your, well, I just renamed you, so I don't see your phone number on the screen anymore. What's your phone number where you could be reached?
231-463-5472.
Could I make a comment about that? I see that Miss Hildebrand has tried to call him back a couple times. She's got no answer and there's no voicemail box set up so she can't leave a message. So he needs to get that set up so she can contact him.
All right. Did you hear that, Mr. Cranston? We've been trying to contact you and not much luck there because your mailbox is full and you're not answering your phone.
Well, it's not set up yet. He needs to set up his voicemail.
Your voicemail's not set up.
I was originally calling off of a landline, and so that may be the number that she was calling back. But if she has this number, I should be able to get it. It's a brand new number.
Okay. Is your mailbox set up on that phone you've got?
No, it's a new phone. I'll try to set it up that way. Yep, I can make contact with her.
And this is a cell phone, correct? Because I'm going to add it right now.
Yeah. What's your address?
It's 1916 Bendon Road, Interlochen, Michigan, 49643.
Four 49643.
Yes, sir.
All right, and do you have an email address?
Yes, sir. It's 2 Joe Cranston 2@gmail.com.
2 as in the number 2?
Yes, sir.
So 2 Joe Cranston 2 at
gmail.com.
Did you say Gmail?
Gmail, yes, sir.
Okay. And what are your living arrangements right now?
I'm living with my parents.
Do you pay them any rent?
Yes, sir. $400 a month.
And what's your marital status?
I'm single.
Any dependents or children living with you?
I do have to pay child support to my girlfriend's mother, and then my oldest son's mom.
So you don't have any children living with you, correct?
Correct.
And how much is your child support per month?
I'd say 600. I'm not exactly sure on the total amount.
Okay, and who's your employer?
I work for myself, general contracting.
How long have you been doing that?
About 3 years.
And how much do you make on an average per week or per month?
It varies. It could be anywhere from $600 to about $2,200 a month.
And do you receive any other form of income?
No, sir.
Do you have any property of significant value?
I apologize. I was receiving unemployment for roughly the last year for COVID. Now it's the 600 a week or every other week.
Okay, and
a property, no, I do not. I'm in search of a vehicle.
all right, probably other than your work tools and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Any significant balance in a checking or savings account?
Not at this time.
And let's see, I am going to go ahead and appoint an attorney for you. Clear that you qualify, and let's see, let's pick a date for a new hearing, Ms. Odom.
And Your Honor, if I could,
August 25th.
oh, sorry, I see Mr. Cranston's out on bond. I was wondering if it could also be set for another probable cause conference as well, sir.
Good idea. Right, now, Mr. Cranston, ordinarily you have a right to have this preliminary examination within 21 days of your arraignment. That's obviously not going to happen, and I can adjourn for good cause, and getting an attorney is maybe the best cause of all. So is that what you want to do, is waive your right to a hearing today?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hamlin, you're obviously agreeable, correct?
Oh, yes, sir. To a timeliness waiver? Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll set it for a probable cause hearing within the next, well, we'll go back to the original timeframes, within 14 days, and then preliminary examination within the next 21 days.
Okay, all right, so hang on. Okay, so the 17th is gonna be the PCC date. At 9. And you don't appear at that, Mr. Cranston. Your lawyer and the prosecutor will handle that.
That was the 17th.
Yeah, August 17th, 9 a.m. Okay. You'll want to talk to your attorney, obviously, before then, but that attorney should be contacting you within the next 3 business days. They're going to call you at that phone number that you gave me. If they don't get a hold of you, they might try your email too, okay? But you need to make sure you're keeping on top of that. So the probable cause is the 17th, and then the prelim, Ms. Oda?
August 23rd at 11.
All right, 23rd of August, 11 a.m. And is there anything else we need to take up at this time, Mr. Hamlin?
No, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Cranston, you'll get a notice in the mail of those 2 hearings. And again, make sure you're in touch with your attorney, and bond is continued. We're all set for today. Feel free to log out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.